So Jonathan Owens, who happens to be married to Simone Biles or Simone Biles Owens, I don't know how that works if she hyphenated her name. But anyway, he recently went on the Pivot podcast and they mainly talked about his career as a safety for the Green Bay Packers, but they also addressed his relationship with Simone. And as many of you know, they are newlyweds. They recently got married in April of this year. So this is not even like, this is still a fresh new marriage. And typically when people are newlyweds, there's this like glimmer in their eyes still. They're still in their honeymoon phase. They're just so excited. Picture Tom Cruise when he was jumping on the couch on the Oprah show over his excitement over his relationship with Katie Holmes. Like that level of excitement. And we know that didn't last. But that level of excitement is usually what you see with newlyweds because they don't know that shit's about to get real and that marriage is actually a serious thing. Typically with marriages, you see that, right? I didn't get this kind of ooh la la, I'm so excited to be married vibe from Jonathan Owens. I mean, the red flags was blaring during this part of the podcast. So the podcast is hosted by 3 former NFL stars. So it's Ryan Clark, Channing Crowder, and Fred Taylor. I really don't watch this podcast. I think the only other episode I've seen is with Kevin Hart, but this is not really my type of podcast. But anyway, so Channing Crowder asks Jonathan, how does it feel to be married to the Simone Biles? Because, this is a big deal. This is the global sweetheart. And the vibe I got from his answer was more of like, I wasn't really checking for her like that. She pursued me. So Jonathan and Simone met on this app called Raya, which is a Tinder-like dating app, which means, you swipe left if you don't like the person, you swipe right when you do, and then you match and then you can message each other. So that part of it is very similar to Tinder, but there's like a lot of other features in there that make it quite different. The only difference with this type of dating app is it's an exclusive app. So you can't just sign up for it like you would Hinge or Tinder or, whatever other dating platform there is out there. It's not really for regular folks. You can apply to be on the platform. Like you actually have to put in an application to be possibly allowed into the platform, or you're invited to join the platform by someone who's actually using it. But even if you're invited by someone who's actually using the platform, it doesn't mean that they'll approve you. It's usually for celebrities and like professional athletes and things like that. So they're looking for people with a certain tax bracket, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like some Tinder. No. This is more of an upper echelon type of app, right? So you're meeting more professional people who are like celebrities in the industry. But anyway, he says he sees her on this platform. He swipes right. She already, they matched. And you basically had to link your Instagram on your Raya profile. So she went to his Instagram. She liked a few of his pictures. He saw that she liked some of his pictures. He still didn't message her. So then she sends him a message and he does respond. But in his own words, he said if she did not message him first, they probably wouldn't have even conversated. And that's just a bit alarming to me because it's like, what? But anyway, I guess they hit it off and they're talking on this platform. She agrees to go and see him. So she drives 45 minutes to go see this man. Now, the biggest problem I have with him is because he said something that's a bit alarming to me. And it seems like BS. So he said that he didn't know who Simone was when he first saw her on the platform. He just saw that she has a lot of followers. Now, I would understand if Simone was like a YouTuber, a content creator. Maybe she's famous on Twitch or TikTok or something, and you didn't know who she was. That makes sense because typically, unless you are their target audience, and usually women who are influencers, they have a specific target audience of women. So I would understand as a man if you don't know who that person is. But we're talking about Simone Biles here. And Simone is one of the most decorated gymnasts just of all time. It's not even just of this generation, of all time, globally known professional athlete. And he said he doesn't know who she is. And he used the excuse that he was in college and he was at camp, football camp, and yada yada. And the whole time he's saying this, Ryan and Channing are kind of looking at him like don't be bullshitting right now. There's no way you didn't know who Simone Biles is. But he's claiming he did not know who Simone Biles is, which I think is complete BS, because this is not just any type of athlete. Because I bet you if you ask him who Michael Phelps is, he would know. I don't even really watch sports. I'm not into watching any NFL games, any NBA games, any soccer game. It's just not my thing. And even I know certain players. Even I know certain soccer teams, and I know some players on those specific soccer teams. I don't watch that, and I still know. So you mean to tell me you're a professional athlete and you don't know who Simone Biles is? I call bullshit. I call bullshit. It doesn't seem right. Like, why are you trying to humble the girl so much? It doesn't seem real to me. It doesn't seem authentic. Even if you don't watch gymnastics, you know who Simone Biles is. So when he said that, I was like, okay, are you going to stick to this story for the rest of your marriage? But the other alarming thing is that he said that he would not have messaged her unless she messaged him. They would not have been talking, which means there would be no Jonathan and Simone had she just said, okay, you know what? I'm going to let the man pursue me and I'm just going to chill out. There probably wouldn't have been anything. And he probably would have just continued to swipe right on other chicks and Now, another issue I was having was that this guy Ryan on the podcast was kind of talking a little crazy. And he was like, well, in actuality, Simone is the lucky one. Because if she didn't pursue Jonathan, she wouldn't have all this, all that. What? And then Ryan was like, well, you're the prize. And Jonathan's like, yeah, I am the prize. I always think men are the prize. And I'm like, oh, okay. It was a lot of red flags. And when you're married to somebody, that's you and that person against the world, which means you always have to have each other's backs because you guys are a union now, right? And why are you not talking about your wife in a high regard? Because he really didn't say anything nice or lovely about his wife. It was more like, she pursued me. I'm the prize. And yeah, like, she lucky to be with me type of thing. And I'm like, wow, this is how you talk about your wife. Like when he said, oh, in actuality, Simone is lucky, he could have been like, no, I'm lucky. I married an amazing woman. You could have said something like, I married an amazing woman. I'm the lucky one. Like, you could have just backed her up a little bit, but you just let this girl look like a groupie. This is your wife. And it's almost like she's some kind of groupie that's just like stalking you or something. Like, it's very weird to me. It's because it's like he wants to humble her in some way. Maybe he's intimidated by her success. Maybe he feels a need to knock her down a few notches, but I don't know why. Simone has always seemed to come off pretty humble. She works very hard. She's worked hard her entire life for where she is. She's received so many medals. She's worked her butt off. And I mean, you couldn't sing her praises just for like a little bit, like for 30 seconds, just hype your wife up a little bit, do something. It was very strange to me. So I was very disturbed by this, and I thought it was very cringy that he felt the need to constantly, and he's done this before, where he just feels the need to constantly like say, he didn't know who she is. She pursued me. He's just, why is this like the story? You keep telling it and telling it and telling it. Like, what is your objective with this? Why can't you sing your wife's praises? I mean, you guys have just been married for about 9 months. And this is how you're talking about your wife. And then what makes my heart break, he's sitting in the corner smiling from ear to ear as if he's just singing her praises, and he's not. It was very cringy to watch, and I felt really bad for Simone. And I think whoever you're in a relationship with, you have to pay attention to how that person speaks about you. So when you sit back and you close your mouth and you just sit there watching and you're listening, you don't interject, you don't say anything. You got to pay attention to how that person, your spouse, speaks about you. It's very important. It lets you know how they feel about you and that they actually love and care about you. Because I really wasn't getting that. I was getting kind of the vibe of once he finds something he thinks is better, he gonna move on. Once he finds something that he maybe wants, he's gonna move on. It's seeming more like she's into this relationship more than he is. That's the whole vibe I was getting from watching this. This interview did not give what it was supposed to give. Like, it was just very strange. And I do have to sing like Channing's praises a little bit because he was like, when Ryan was like, oh, well, she's a lucky one. He's like, for what? And he even said, kind of basically saying that Jonathan will never be on the level of Simone. He said it right to his face. And I mean, it's true because Simone has accomplished so much at a young age. Y'all, it was just very cringy, very awkward to watch. And if this marriage is starting off like this, I'm not really too optimistic about it. I don't like to wish bad on people's marriages. I really don't. But this was not giving what it was supposed to give. I mean, the red flags were blaring, and my beautiful sis is over there in the corner smiling from ear to ear like this man is singing her praise and talking about, oh, I'm so happy to be married. And da-da-da. He didn't say any of that. He didn't say any of that at all. And then him saying he was fighting it. Fighting what? The demons? You know, he was basically saying that he didn't really want to, pursue anything with her. He was trying to kind of like, sow his royal oats. Shout out to Eddie Murphy. He was trying to go out there and experience some things before he settled down. But this is the part that's very interesting to me because no one holds a gun to your head and tells you that you need to get, like, you forces you to get married. You make that decision and you propose to this woman and got married to this woman. And this is how you're choosing to speak about your wife. And I think about people like Russell Wilson and Sierra. And when they did that interview, I think last year, they did an interview and, one of the questions was, what is your biggest fear? And he said losing Sierra. That's his biggest fear. He could have said anything. He could have said, that I won't be as successful in football anymore, or something related to his career or his kids. He said his biggest fear was losing his wife, which is it was such a beautiful thing to watch. And it's just very weird to me that you don't think Simone Biles, she is one of the most powerful athletes in the entire world, one of the most decorated athletes in the entire world. But don't you think that level of success has come with a lot of ridicule and judgment and criticism? It did. And she had to stomach that. Now she got to sit here and stomach it from the man that she married. I don't like that. This is just crazy. And I feel like this interview is going to blow up in his face. I think we have to be a lot more cautious about the people we tend to marry. He ain't call her beautiful. He ain't say, I'm just my wife. I'm so happy to marry my wife. It seemed like at any moment, this man gonna dip. I'm getting that vibe, This is giving Iman Shumpert a little bit. It's giving the ick. It's just, he's not seeming like the type of man who's excited to be married to the Simone Biles. And I find that to be a problem. And that could become a bigger issue over time in their marriage, because it's always a little issue at the beginning. And then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it becomes the elephant in the room that neither party can ignore. So I'm just going to hope for the best. But I think too many people are just quick to get married, and y'all be playing in God's face about something that's so serious. Y'all be playing in God's face. Y'all getting marriages as if it's like, another relationship. And then you find out you married somebody who's not even supportive of you, doesn't even sing your praises. That's insane to me. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.